Okay, yesterday was about customer focus, and today is moving into the marketing mix. So one element, so just keep in mind, besides the rational motives that consumers have, the logical motives, saving money, convenience, and the emotional motives like peace of mind, comfort, some kind of sensory price, flavor, some kind of deliciousness, some kind of gratification. Besides those factors, or those two motives, those are going to play into the advertisement that you're going to make. Is to consider the benefits and features of the product that you're offering. Just to highlight again, a feature is something that is part of the product. So a feature is that it comes with batteries. You order something or you buy something and it has batteries included. That's a feature. A phone has 3 cameras. That's a feature. It's part of the product itself. So benefit is something that the product will give you. So it does more appeal to the features are more a part of the rational buying motives. It's not one-to-one, it doesn't go together directly, but it's closer aligned. And the emotional buying motives are related to some of the benefits that people get. Although convenience and saving money are a benefit, and those are rational. So it's not exactly equal, but it's connected. Okay, so quick review. You are trying to be in a niche market, not a mass market. Mass markets are different than your market, and that's why we're choosing a niche market, because we want to compete and to be able to see and analyze our competition directly. So a mass market, just to compare, is a market with the widest potential customer base, so everyone is a potential customer. A mass marketing campaign is generally any media will be able to reach the target market, so you don't really have to, you can just pick the widest market, the largest media you can pick will be the most effective, so the risk is lower, you won't miss your target. Economies of scale, a couple times I've mentioned this so far. Economies of scale is when you sell more of a product, or you're able to lower your costs because you use your production efficiently. So economies of scale is when prices get cheaper the more you produce. The actual definition of it has to do with variable costs and fixed costs, but we'll talk about that later. Market research costs are relatively low. We know what the customer wants. It's easy to find them, it's easy to research them, it's easy to analyze their buying habits. So we don't really have to put a lot of energy into trying to figure out what they want exactly. So that's different from you. You're a niche market. And a niche market has a niche market has there's some differences from a mass market. There's some things that make it easier for you and some things that make it more difficult. So advantages and disadvantages of a niche market. When you're in a niche, and when you're doing something that's different from your competition, it's usually clearly differentiated and you don't have as much competition, so you have a chance to make yourself build your market share. You can get a higher market share. Competing against mass market products would be very difficult. So you're a big fish in a small pond, clear focus, you know who your target market is, you interact with them. They're very specific, very information driven. As you get better, as you know your customers better and you are a specialist in your market, then you are able to better serve your customers, and also that defends you against other competition. In a niche market, if it's something that people want that they cannot get somewhere else, often they pay more money, so you can charge higher prices in some cases if it's special for people. And as a result, profit margins can be higher. Customers generally become loyal to you if you're able to serve them in a niche market. They feel some ownership. They feel like they're, they're one of your customers, or they're they're a special client for you. They're important for you, so they feel more loyal. Of course, the drawbacks of a niche market are perhaps the fact that you can never really get big enough to get that cost savings from economies of scale. Two of these are similar. The third one, likely to attract competition if successful. That's going to happen no matter what, right? Any business that's successful will, demand will increase, and supply will try to match it. Now it says here, risk over dependence on a single product or market, and then the other one says vulnerable to changes. All your eggs in one basket. To me, that's similar or the same thing. So if you are committed to something, maybe a good example would be in the music business or music retail. If you were selling CDs at a certain point, you can kind of see maybe you're the best CD shop in the city, but eventually streaming and downloading is going to kill you, and your niche will no longer exist. So if a trend, if it's some kind of maybe otaku or something where people are interested in Japanese comic books and the trend changes, or you open a fashion shop to look like K-pop stars and then K-pop becomes out of fashion, you could lose your market completely because you've invested in that just one market. So you are vulnerable in some cases. So, in order to get started with marketing, we have to look at the marketing mix. What is the marketing mix? Sometimes it's called the 4 Ps, and sometimes there are 7 Ps. We're going to start with 4. The 4 Ps of marketing are, you should know this already a little bit, product. And I like to contrast product with promotion. And as described in the video the other day, how do you know the difference between product factors and promotion factors is that some are permanent and some change. So something that changes, whether it's in the packaging or like a holiday packaging. I see some Lay's potato chips, they still have some Happy New Year potato chip packaging. That's a promotion. It's supposed to be Lucky potato chips. And they didn't sell all of them before 10, so I guess that's going to remain for a little bit longer, but that's not a permanent strategy. So that's promotion. Think about the things that never change. So Pringles can is packaging, never changes, so that's something that's going to be under product. Logos, brand names, they never change or very rarely change, so they're part of product as well. So let's get a description of the P's first, just as a starting point.
Monday.com is a workplace designed to manage any project or workflow needs. The flexibility.
Hi there. As you look at marketing and marketing strategy, you soon realise that marketing is more complex than is commonly described using the classic 4 Ps of marketing. The marketing mix is now usually extended to include 3 more Ps. So let's have a quick look at what we mean by the extended marketing mix. Now the marketing mix, this should be familiar to you if you've already started studying marketing. It's all about the different parts of marketing that are used by a business and combined together to try to meet the needs and expectations of customers. And it's called a mix because each part of the mix, each element needs to work together in order to be successful. Now that's the idea of the marketing mix. It's a blend of elements that hopefully are the right mix in order to be competitive. The classic 4 Ps, which I mentioned right at the start, of course, are firstly product. What is the actual service or product that you and I, the customer, buys? Price, how much do we pay for that product or service? And how is that determined? Place, where do we find the product? How is it distributed to us? How do we find out about it? How do we buy it? And lastly, promotion. How do businesses discover us? How do they find us and persuade us to part with our money for the product or service? Those are the traditional 4 Ps.
If you have a question on a test that has to do with the definition of marketing, just remember it connects to the 4 Ps, right? So what we're trying, marketing is getting products or services that meet customer needs and wants to them in the most efficient way and gets distribution, and then communicating with them the benefits that they get from it, promotion at a price that they want to pay. So you can make your marketing definition based on the 4 Ps.
But we've mentioned that the 4 Ps has been extended to include 3 new ones, and here they are. Firstly, people, particularly relevant, of course, in a service industry context. The product is so closely aligned with the people who make contact with customers who deliver the service, deliver the product. The next P is process, which of course is closely aligned to operations or productions. What are the systems, the processes that actually deliver the product or services to us? And lastly, the physical environment. What are the elements of the physical environment in which we either buy or experience the product? How does that help blend into the marketing mix?
You're going to see different Ps for the 7th P. People, I agree with. I think people is about service, and you can remember, what's our goal? Our goal is to build a competitive advantage. We have to be better than our competition in terms of either a better product, better strategy of communication, promotion, better distribution. And I think it's pretty clear that we can get an advantage from better customer service. I'm sure that there's been places that you've shopped before that you thought, okay, well, this bubble tea or this coffee or this is almost as good as the other one, but I just like the people who work there. They know me. I don't have to tell them what my order is. They know what it is when I go in there. They're very friendly, very efficient. They pay attention to the customers. The place is kept well. It's clean. I feel happy when I'm in there. They play good music. So the people can be a competitive advantage if you have a certain kind of training for your people. Process, I guess that is, I would, it's the way to look at process is to look at the customer experience. So from the first, so it's not really included, you could include it in product, I guess, but what does the customer experience? What kind of, so they walk into a shop, for example, before KFC or early KFC days in Vietnam, some people would walk into KFC and they would sit at a table and wait for someone to come and help them. They just didn't have any idea that going to the counter and ordering was the system. It was a new system. People weren't used to it. They had to change their feeling about the process. I still think that people were quite kind of surprised that they would pay as much or more money than they would pay in a Vietnamese restaurant and still not get table service. I think that was a surprise for a lot of people. In cafes, until Starbucks came here, I never saw people standing in line waiting for coffee, ever. So I think the first Starbucks opened in 2012, I think, 2013. And that was at the New World Hotel. And I remember people standing in line, and I'm just looking at them like, wow, people never stand in line here. And to get served just a coffee. And people were dressed up, and it was a fashion show, and they liked the process in the end. So you can go to a sushi restaurant and you sit, sometimes you go and you order from the menu, sometimes you sit at a bar kind of the sushi train goes around and serves you, and you can pick which sushi you want to pick from the sushi train. That's process. Process is how you order, how you get served, how you get the bill, what happens at the end of your experience as well. So all of that is part of process, and I think that can be an advantage in some cases. The last one says physical environment. Physical environment only really applies to like shops, right? So it's not really applying to all kinds of products and services. It's more common that you'll see the 7th P listed as performance. And performance is basically management, and in this case, cost management. So you could say that two competitors, two companies, that everything else is equal quality products. They both have delivery services, the prices are similar, they both have decent brand images, their customer service is good, their process is similar, and one company is better at managing its staff hours, one company is better at managing its inventory, one company is better at knowing which times are busy and which times are slow. And that would give you an advantage, right? You would save money on cost. So understanding your market and your customers and when it's busy and when it's not and what to order, that would be management and performance. So we put that into, I can understand that as an advantage. We're not using that, but that to me is a better 7th P than physical environment, which does not apply to everything.
Make a business competitive. So there we have it. 4 Ps has been extended to the 7 Ps. Now, of course, in any particular product or service, not every part of the extended mix will be as important as others. It's nearly always the case, isn't it, that product and price, 2 of the original 4 Ps, are fundamental. But increasingly, as you look at service and...
Why does he say that? He says product and price are fundamental because that's the basic calculation that customers make about value. So value for money, so it's the price for a product. So that's the most immediate. When you're already in a shop and you're already looking at the product, distribution is not an issue anymore. Promotion is not an issue. You want to buy it and you're comparing 2 products, and then you think about value for money. And usually that's how we differentiate, and we put them into when we make the grid to show how we're different from our competition, and we differentiate from them and position ourselves in the market, we usually do price versus quality and price.
In digital businesses, you find that other elements of the extended mix are just as important. So let's give you a quick example of this just to help illustrate what the 7 Ps are. And let's take an example from the health and leisure industry, the fast emerging budget or low cost gym sector. And I've just picked one business which is now the UK market leader, the largest operator. Let's take an example from the health and leisure industry, the fast emerging budget or low cost gym sector. And I've just picked one business which is now the UK market leader, the largest operator of gyms and fitness clubs in the UK, called Pure Gym. Well, let's have a look at what the 7 elements of the mix are. Firstly, of course, the product, the gym itself, which is a very well equipped but very focused product range in terms of the exercise equipment that's available and also the exercise classes. It's a no-frills approach. You won't find swimming pools in Pure Gyms. The price, they've gone for a low-cost, therefore low-price strategy, and also using dynamic pricing, essentially sold online, but where the idea is to attract members into the gym at a low price, using flexible contracts, almost pay as you go. Pure Gym uses a variety of different promotional activities, including billboard advertising as well as online advertising. And of course, you'll find these Pure Gyms in a variety of different locations. So when they're looking at place, Pure Gyms have occupied recently vacated office blocks, as well as all kinds of other locations of different shapes and sizes. Not just the large out-of-time fitness clubs that used to be the norm in the industry. But let's add in 3 more elements to the mix, just so you can see the extended mix in action. Firstly, of course, we mentioned the fifth B, people. Who are the people who help deliver the product or service? Now, in the case of PureGym, they employ very few people, but what they do have within their business are personal trainers. Nearly all of whom are freelance personal trainers who collect a revenue from customers who request personal training sessions. Those freelancers also, I think, work around 5 or 10 hours free each week at the gym as part of the deal. But they're clearly a key part of delivering the product and service. In terms of process, PureGym has been a leader and innovator in terms of digitising the fitness experience. So, for example, booking exercise classes using an app, and of course managing your membership online. And lastly, of course, the physical environment. So the changing rooms in a PureGym are pretty clean, very clean and modern, but they're very different from what you might find in an upmarket luxury gym like Virgin Active. Very different experience, and that's deliberately so to help shape the physical environment. So there we go, that's an introduction to and an illustration of what we mean by the extended marketing mix.
So that's your goal. That's what you're going to come up with at the end. You're going to come up with a marketing mix for your product. So let's look at page 55, chapter 6. I'll give you a second to open your book. Okay, so I'm on page 56. It says the marketing mix. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits their needs and sells itself. Find something that people know and want. The marketing mix. The marketing strategy can be developed around the elements of the marketing mix. The strategy details about how the parts of the marketing mix can work together in order to achieve the marketing objectives that the business has set. That's the goals. The mix is called the 4 Ps. We know that. And there's the extended or expanded marketing mix. So we'll start with 4. You may or may not need the extra Ps in your marketing plan, especially if you're a service business or a cafe. You might want to use people. Or process, but for now we're going to start with the 4 Ps and focus on product first. Now notice the box here with the 4 different elements of product marketing, and consider what they're saying. Features, okay, what is included in what you get. Attributes means elements of quality, colors, design, benefits that you get. So features and benefits of the product. You should be clear about what your customers are getting. As I said before, packaging and labeling doesn't change, so that's part of your product mix. Branding is value, and it shouldn't change. It should keep consistent in order to make sure that your customers recognize you. And last but not least, but very hard to read, is, I cannot read it in my book, but I can see it says after sales service, warranties, and I guess in general the service that's provided. My book is very gray, very white gray. So just to go over this part of the book, and I think that's what we'll finish with today, but I'm going to take a couple minutes on it. Product. The business will decide on the product, goods, and or services it wishes to market. A product is an item that is designed to meet particular needs for the customer. That's why you do market research. Consumer, we know that's different from a customer, will purchase a product from some business that meets their wants and needs. And different consumers will be attracted to different product aspects. Less tangible means measurable, aspects such as the name, packaging, and branding will appeal to a certain emotional customers. The type of service and warranties provided will be important to other types of customers. So in this case, you're talking about emotional versus rational. Next page. Product strategy will change depending on the stage of the product life cycle. We're not there yet, but the product life cycle is something we're going to go over later, and you don't really have to worry about it for this task. Packaging, labeling, and branding can be used at each stage of the product life cycle to distinguish the product from competitors in the marketplace. These are also discussed in a later chapter. That's why I'm not talking about it now. Market growth. This is a review from what I said before. There's two kinds of markets. Either you're making a market and you're trying to describe to new customers and to introduce them to a new product or service, or you're trying to take market share from a market that's already existing. So in order to gain a competitive advantage over them, the business might seek to growth in the product market. So if you create some innovation, if you're the first bubble tea shop to start selling, let's say, instead of chow den, you have some kind of chow matcha, you have the green balls instead of the black balls, maybe you open the market up. I noticed that there's a lot of these like milk tea, they're not even tea shops, they're like milk with little black balls and sugar milk. I don't even know what you call it. But the bubble tea market opened up a new market for that kind of suya that's being sold now on the streets. So you can use product innovation and create new markets based on old products. Product growth strategies include increasing sales of existing products through improved market penetration. Market penetration means to increase your market share. Developing new products for the currently existing market, so that's what's happening all the time at every bubble tea shop. They're trying to come up with some new innovation. And or increasing sales of the existing product by developing new markets and diversifying your products. But if you diversify your products, if you try to sell too many different flavors or something, or if you have too many different products on your menu, you might be perceived as not really having any specialization, and your customers might think that you're not focused on them or focused on the product. So before we go on and talk about positioning for a minute, I'll show one more tiny video about product development. I think this one is really good. It's very short.
Four variables that shape a company's marketing mix we will consider is product. The products that a firm produces and sells to its customers. The first of the four variables that shape a company's marketing mix we will consider is product. The products that a firm produces and sells to its customers. There is a reason we want to start with the product variable. So far, we talked about marketing research, market segmentation, choosing a target market, and the psychology of customers. All these lessons led us to the conclusion that firms must listen actively to the market. They have to understand customers in their target market, and if they do that, then they will know what type of products will win these customers. There are two main types of products that can be offered to clients: goods and services. The difference between the two is that goods are of tangible nature, products such as Apple iPhones and Tesla cars, while services are of intangible nature, a haircut or a lawyer consultation. Whether we talk about goods or services, we can say, usually, people are not just buying a product that solves one of their basic needs. They acquire the benefits and satisfaction they believe they'll obtain from the product. They're interested in symbols and ideas that help them relate the product to a desired lifestyle and positive expectations about the future. Marketers understand that and try to incorporate these ideas when
people are not just buying a product that solves their basic needs. They're thinking about their expectations, what it's going to be like, and they're going to try to match their expectations to the value that they see. Somehow products represent them, and they look for certain benefits.
And try to incorporate these ideas when developing a product concept. When a person buys a Rolex, they want to tell the time. But they're also interested in wearing the watch as a testament to their status and wealthy lifestyle. McDonald's is a chain of fast food restaurants. But the company's goal is to create a customer perception that associates its products with happy family times, children happiness, pleasant surprises, and good times. Starbucks doesn't just offer coffee as many other shops and chains do. It transforms the whole coffee drinking experience, offering high-quality coffee drinks, plenty of choice, and excellent service to its customers. People love drinking their coffee in Starbucks, and often it becomes one of their favorite times of the day. Customers do not simply buy products because they satisfy their needs. Instead, they're interested in becoming clients of firms that offer them a complete product concept, an idea of a promise, if you will. The best products make people happier and create a positive expectation before being consumed.
So it's fast, but I think it's very well done, and pretty much nails the whole process that you're trying to do. So, we're trying to understand our product from what our customers' needs and wants are, and then we're trying to understand our product from the comparisons that we make with our competitors. So there's two different sides of that. So all of your research will basically go into product, and the understanding your target market is the goal of customer research, and understanding your positioning in the market is your goal with competition, competitive research. So, positioning, what is positioning? Product positioning encompasses all the methods that are used to create a unique impression of the product in the minds of potential customers. In a crowded market, it is challenging to stand out to customers. So consistent, simple messages about the product are needed. Customers perceive products to have particular attributes, character, qualities, and they compare these attributes with competing products. Positioning strategies are broadly attempting to differentiate the product. So positioning and differentiation are very much tied together. That's why we have these things. That's a market I don't really understand, but I could gain some understanding here. So I don't really know much about makeup, but I can see here that on the top here is price, premium price. Pocket friendly is the cheap version, and then we have the highest performance here, I guess product quality here, and low quality here. So usually you have high price and performance go together, but occasionally you have some good value for money brands that would be here, and then you have some overpriced brands here who have low performance at a high price, and then you have some budget items that are suitable for pretty much mass markets over in the low price and low performance. Now I know more about makeup. This one, okay, so we have cheap, weird chocolate. Some major companies who make mass-produced chocolate, and it goes up to more specialist chocolate here. So this would be the chocolate market. When you're trying to figure out your position, you're looking for gaps in the market. Now, of course, nobody wants to have high price and low quality. That's not a niche. These are called niches, right? Niche. Would you like to have high quality at a low price? Of course, but sometimes that's not possible because of the cost of production. So here they do a positioning map. Sometimes you don't use price and quality. This one is using economy, which would mean budget or cheap, and luxury, which is expensive. But then instead of comparing quality, they compare the brand images. Some cars are considered sporty and cars that are kind of cool, and then other cars are like more utility, rational buying motives, family, safer cars. So in this case, you could say that these are the emotional motives here, the sporty cars, and then the family is the, you could say, rational motives. So here we can see that some people, someone who's super crazy and super rich is going to buy a Porsche 911. Maybe that same person would not be as rich, and they would end up with the Audi. Then you have some very conservative cars that are actually quite expensive, like some of these BMWs, and then we have the cheaper sporty cars like the Mini Cooper, which is still not super cheap, but we have some other ones, the VW Golf. So these ones are sporty but kind of cheap, so they probably don't have good durability or they don't last for a long time, but people like them because they look nice. And then we have a family market with the cheaper priced cars. So maybe there's a gap in the market for a cheaper family car. So that's what they're identifying here. This would be a niche. So the niche is the part that's, that you see that there's no competition. So you can make a position map like this of your competition and put yourself in it and analyze it. These are shoes. I don't know if they're shoes. Maybe they're sportswear. Looks like sportswear. Cosmetics. Anyway, there's 1,000 positioning maps that you can use to compare to others. This one looks like laptop market. Apple is considered high price and high quality. Somebody else might think HP is the quality is high for a low price. I used to think that, but I've changed my perception of that company. Their last computer I bought from them fell apart, had the worst mouse pad I've ever used. So, and I think Asus is higher than this now. I think Asus has improved itself. They deserve to be, they should be where HP is now, probably. Dell, low price and fairly high quality, maybe. Acer, why are people trashing Acer? I don't know enough about Acers. Anyway, those are positioning maps, and you can see also when you're using a positioning map that you can use that to change your brand image. So we look at our first public image, task. If you want to change your public image, you can use a positioning map, right? You can say, okay, we're here, and we want to go here. So we can start with where we're perceived to be. So Skoda was probably perceived to be very low quality. So first, Skoda was here, high quality and maybe a reasonable price, or maybe even slightly higher, and they ended up way down here. And now they're over here. They're pretty high quality at a pretty low price, and that's why people like them, and that's why they're winning the market share and the awards that they're getting. So they went from here to here to here. So positioning can change over time, but you're a new business, so you're going to have to identify your niche right now. Process of product positioning. Decide on the target market of the product. That's first. Identify the current features of the product in the market. Research customer perceptions about the product features. So understand the target market, understand the customer's perceptions. Distinguish where the product is presently located in the market. So try to get a feeling of the different competitors that are there already. Decide on the ideal combination of product features and the ideal target market, and then look at the gap between the current product and the ideal. That's for positioning a product that's already existing that you want to change. So we can see that new Oreo and Cadbury mix. Cadbury is, I think, higher up. I think Cadbury is probably, I think there was a chocolate map here. Where is Cadbury? Here, right? So Cadbury is up here. And I think most people would think Oreo is down here. So Oreo is trying to use Cadbury to improve its positioning in the market and to get people thinking that it should be, maybe the price will have to go up slightly, but that it's a little bit towards the center. You get certain quality for value for money. So putting those two brands together is, I think, a little bit risky for both of them, in the sense that they don't know what the customer's reaction is going to be. If it tastes really good, then okay, they win. If it tastes bad, then Cadbury loses its image, and Oreo doesn't really change. Oreo doesn't improve it. They just kind of stay the same. So repositioning, that's what that is. Repositioning a product involves changing the position of the product in the market. This can be needed if the attitude towards the product have changed. If a new market segment is identified for a product, or if the product cycle has altered, in other words, that people are bored with it, they want something new. Alternatively, the business might try to reposition a competitor by encouraging consumers to look at the competitor's products differently. So we can, I'll talk about an example of that next week about New Coke. I'm going to assign a few homework questions. I'm sorry about yesterday. It was difficult for me. I got called into another class at the last minute. And then when I signed on at 5 o'clock, no one was online. So I'm going to try to set up a Zoom session, if not today, tomorrow. So thanks a lot, and have a great day, and a good weekend, and I wish I was seeing you on Monday.